On September 11th, 2001, I was actually in the newsroom. It was a weekday, it was a work day, and at 9:30 in the morning, that's where I normally am. We had finished up the morning show on Wave News 10, and we're just kind of getting the news day started when we were all glued to the television for something that at the moment we thought was only happening in New York City. And we thought we were looking at a big news event that was happening somewhere else. And then came the second plane, and we were watching the network folks, watching it kind of dawn on their faces that this was not an accident, that the second plane wasn't an accident. And then we realized that we were dealing with a national news event when word came from the Pentagon as well. And at that point, we just kind of went into news mode. There really wasn't a time, an opportunity for me to react as a person, personally at that moment, but we went into news mode, and as a journalist, we were out the door, and my assignment that day was to go see what was happening at Langley Air Force Base, to see how the security changed immediately at the gates, and how the military was responding to this threat, because that was the most bizarre thing about September 11th, is not knowing when it was over, if it was over. And one of the most powerful memories I have of that day is the phone call that I got from my mother, and she was crying, and she wanted to know where I was, what I was doing. She was worried about me being in harm's way, because of my job, and also because at the time I was still part of the military's inactive reserves, and she was wondering if I was, going to get called in. So I just remember, I remember it was the first time that I really heard her that afraid. I had seen her sad, and I had seen her worry. I had certainly seen my mom cry, but I had never heard her so afraid, and she was afraid for me, and she was afraid for this country. And it is very hard to believe that 10 years has gone by so fast. It's really shocking to think that it's already been 10 years, but it was definitely one of those things that was life-changing. And even though at the time I wasn't yet a wife and I wasn't yet a mother, now that I am, the world is a much, much different place when you have children in it. And I guess I'm just happy that in the last 10 years we've seen some real positive things come out of September 11th as well, and that's what I try to focus on, but it certainly will be a day we never forget.